Welcome, everyone. We are so happy to have you all here for our 2021 Touchstone Awards. We have so many amazing people to honor here tonight, and we are super excited to have all of you joining us here this evening. We were so hoping to be back together again at the Toledo Club in person this year, but at the time that we had to make a decision, COVID cases were rising and hospitalizations were up, and we just thought we better err on the side of caution as we are heading into fall. So that's why we're virtual again, and we will just keep our fingers crossed that we can actually be back together, hugging each other, and definitely want to invite our honorees to join us in person next year if they choose to, so that we can properly vet them in person as well. But tonight we are going to do what reporters are often asked to do, and that is to make lemonade out of lemons. I'm Chris Peterson. I am a current Toledo Press Club board member and also a past president of the Toledo Press Club. And although I don't work in news media on a daily basis anymore, I'm very passionate about the industry. There have been a lot of changes that have been happening in our industry going forward. So I'm also an avid local news consumer. And I have to say that I am so proud of the work that our local reporters do day in and day out to bring us breaking news stories, amazing investigations, emotional photographs and video to show us what is happening in our community and to keep us apprised. We are also celebrating several of our community members here with us tonight. And those are folks who have served us and made us better in a variety of ways. So we are the Toledo Press Club, and we are folks who, hold on just a second, guys. Teleprompter broke. No, hey, what's going on there? BJ! Stop it! Okay, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. All right, we are, I'm just gonna put the script up here on my screen so I can just see it this way, and that way we won't have any mistakes here. The Press Club was started nearly 50 years ago with the idea to bring people together who break news and those who make news. And tonight we're going to honor people in both of those categories. And we're also encouraging the next generation of journalists through the scholarships that we're going to distribute tonight. One to a student from Bowling Green State University and one from the University of Toledo. We are only able to continue this scholarship program through the generosity of our sponsors. And we wanted to make sure that we got them the recognition this evening that they deserve. So our sponsors this year for the Press Club Touchstone Awards are the Toledo Blade, Imagination Station, Monsoor Wealth Management, Owens Corning, Dana Corp, and Chris Peterson Consulting. So happy to be able to sponsor this wonderful event here this year. We also want to let you know that our PowerPoint this year was done by a couple of students from Penta Career Center. We want to thank Adam Crofts and Carson Tussing. They are students from the digital video program at Penta Career Center and creators of this presentation. They did a wonderful job, and they did it under very tight deadline. So we really appreciate their participation in our program here this evening. They do great work. They're learning great things. So we want to thank them as well. We have a wonderful board at the Toledo Press Club. Our board members are active in a variety of ways. You can see all of the names there. And right now I'd like to turn the program over to our president, Matt Schroeder, for a few words. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. And good evening again, everyone. And welcome again to what I know will be a very special and fun evening ahead. Appreciate so much everyone making their way across the pond from four corners of the earth, really, to our virtual touchstones tonight. That is part of the lemonade that Chris talked about earlier, is that we are all able to gather from far and wide and see each other, even if it is in this virtual environment. So thank you so much for making the time tonight. As Chris mentioned, I'm Matt Schroeder, the president of the board of the Press Club of Toledo. By day, I'm in corporate communications at Owens Corning and also a proud journalism graduate from Bowling Green State University. So hello to all my fellow Falcons out there. Like Chris said, special thanks to our sponsors tonight. They really do make it happen and make possible what you're seeing. And the fellow board members who had worked so hard right up until this afternoon to bring us this program. Any of us that you see on the call would be thrilled to speak with you about membership in the Press Club of Toledo, so don't be shy about that. I'd say we have operators standing by, but most of us are here tonight on the call, so you've got us right here. Great opportunity. And like Chris said, Carson and Adam did a fantastic job on our presentation. We're extremely grateful to them and appreciative, so thank you again. Just a couple of brief words about our organization. The mission of the Press Club of Toledo is about really three simple but very important things. We provide the community with an understanding of the role that local media plays in their lives. We educate, develop, and connect professionals like each other to each other and to the community at large. And we support and recognize the impact that journalism and communication strategies have. And those mission statements really do come to life on nights like tonight and in other professional development events, like our recent panel discussion we had about the attack on the Capitol, another one that we did on the role and impact that social media is having in journalism, and of course the happy hour that we hosted a short while back. Several of you were there at Toledo Spirits, and each of those help support our mission in their own spirited way. Tonight, that way, though, is to celebrate so many of you and your accomplishments in 2021. So to help us make that happen, I've always wanted to say this. Chris, back to you in the studio. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. My pleasure to be here. And we do have an amazing group of community members and career journalists that we are honoring here tonight with the Press Club. We want to make sure that we are respectful of everybody's time. So we're going to try to get through this the very best that we can. And we wanted to honor our community members first. We will then have our keynote speaker say a few words, and then we will have our journalism awards at the end of the evening. So we do have an amazing group of community members and career journalists that we're honoring tonight, and we're beginning with our Contributor Award. The Contributor Award is given to a person, or in this case, two people, who have made a significant contribution to our region, specifically in the past year. Our Touchstone contributor tonight is presented to two people who did something truly extraordinary during unprecedented times, Meg Ressner and Richard Hyland. Meg and Richard served as the general volunteer chairs of the Solheim Cup, which was incredible at Inverness over Labor Day weekend. The Solheim pits America's best female golfers against Europe's best female golfers in a 3-day tournament and is held every other year, and it alternates between Europe and spots in America. So we only get it every 4 years. Well, the pitch for the Solheim began 6 years earlier when a local committee threw Toledo's hat into the ring as a potential site. Richard chaired that committee. The selection process was lengthy. It took about 2 years, but in the end, Toledo's Inverness Club won the honor to hold the 2021 Solheim Cup. Boy, was everyone excited. And through Meg and Richard's leadership, Toledo shattered the attendance record for the Solheim with more than 130,000 fans over a 7-day period, watching practice rounds, a celebrity pro-am, and live competition between the United States and Europe. The numbers are even more impressive when you consider that most European fans could not even attend because of COVID-19 travel restrictions. The Solheim Cup also had a $40 million impact on our local economy, but the tournament also showcased the Toledo community at its absolute best, with high energy women's summit, an electric opening ceremony, and concert downtown. Women for Solheim inspired us as a group of diverse Toledo women who worked to create opportunities so everyone had a chance to enjoy the tournament. And there was also an impactful group who worked with Habitat for Humanity to build a home for a deserving family. And all of this was accomplished during one of the most tumultuous and uncertain times in our world's history, a global pandemic. We're going to hear from both of these amazing Toledoans. We're going to start with Meg, who owns her own strategy consulting business, was a former VP at Owens Corning. She's involved in numerous philanthropic organizations here because she truly loves Toledo. She and her husband, Dick, chose Toledo as their home because they felt they could have a major impact here, and boy, have they. Meg, we are proud to honor you with the Press Club Contributor Award.
Well, it's like thanks to the Academy or whatever you might say. But,
that's right.
We are here at Toll House, which is in and of itself a very cool thing. Grand opening this weekend, and a place in Toledo that is starting to really grow and thrive in the historic Vistula community. So I'm really grateful that we had a chance to be here. If we couldn't be together with a small group of people who mean a lot to both Richard and me, I would just say that the spirit of what we accomplished was really all about leadership and collaboration. And you have to start with the committee chairs, who thankfully said yes when Richard and I called, without really knowing what they were saying yes to. Together they engaged and supported 2,000 volunteers from 39 states. And we're grateful for each and every one of them, many who are in this room and on this call. I guess I knew that we'd do well on the golf course. I'm incredibly proud of what we did off the golf course. From the beginning of the bid process, we were committed to making it a community engagement, and more than just a golf tournament, but something that was there for everyone. And the private and public sectors came together in a really amazing way. As Chris mentioned, our Women for Solheim advocates led by Diana Patton, our Toledo is for Everyone team led by Sam Meldon, Paige Ottaviano and Benet Roop in their help with the Women's Summit, which raised $185,000 for the Datillo Family Center, the Women Build for Habitat for Humanity, and the Renee Powell Grant. And lastly, our fan experience team, who worked tirelessly to raise awareness, and really they made the magic happen around the community. We didn't want anyone to wake up on Tuesday morning and feel left out. And we wanted our investments to have a lasting impact. I'm personally incredibly grateful. I'm so proud of Toledo, and particularly for making the magic of this tournament possible for everyone. And I guess really, I said lastly, but last but definitely not least, Dick has been an incredible support. He picked me up off the floor many, many times. So the two Richards were really my partners through this experience. To Dick and to you.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
And we want to make sure I love that you all are already using the chat, and I didn't even tell you to do that. So please, Richard and Meg, go through and look at the messages there, because you're getting lots of love from the audience right now. The other half of this dynamic duo, as you just heard, is Richard Hyland. As president of sales and innovation at Hyland, Richard oversees the recruitment and development of new and existing client executives in partnership with each of Hyland's offices. As a member of the executive leadership team, Hyland Board of Directors, and principal owner, Richard also works with the core team and office heads to assess potential acquisitions, industry-focused teams, and targeted individuals to build out sales and support services for all Hyland offices. As you might guess, Richard is also very involved in our community philanthropically. He is from a very large family. Many of them are here with us tonight, cheering him on enthusiastically, including one from London. So we are now an international event here tonight. Richard, we are so pleased to have you accept this award from the Press Club tonight. Thank you for your leadership in our community.
Thank you. I don't know, am I supposed to wear this, Chris, for the... I joked with Chris when this was announced that it wasn't lost on me that we are celebrating getting 130,000 plus people together virtually. But here we are. It's sort of the world that we live in.
Right.
And Meg summed up everything beautifully. I'm not sure there's a lot I can add. There's a few more to really do my own personal shout out to, but it really was a community effort, and there were well over 2,000 hands on the oars to make this happen. So while we are being recognized, it certainly is just, you know, being recognized as a huge crowd, and Toledo certainly did itself proud. And I do want to do a shout out to the family. I've got my daughters on, as well as my son from London, my daughter from New York, and one from Chicago. So love you girls, and love you Jack, good to see you. Family in Charleston who were down there on a business trip. So I don't know if they were able to chime in. I got a brother in Boston who was signing in. He's there seeing his new grandchild. So, but I'm able to do efforts like this in the community because of my partners and my family, and particularly my wife, who has been a big supporter, and they allow me to jump into these waters, probably because they're smarter than me. They don't do it, want to do it, but they encourage me and back me to go after stuff like this. And it's also right here to my left that you can see on the screen. We're not celebrating women's golf in Toledo at all if Judd Silverman doesn't introduce us to the LPGA 35 plus years ago, and brings a tournament that's, I think, now the longest running LPGA event on tour.
Well, the media would agree. Don't let facts get in the way of a good story.
And Judd and Gary Heminger, and we're not doing this without Gary Heminger agreeing to write a check on behalf of Marathon to support this event. They let's not forget, sponsored 2 women's professional events in the community this last year. And it was their idea to go after this. And the Mark Frasco from COAC was unbelievable in the bid process with energy. And Steve Mitchell's here with us tonight from the Toledo Club, or the Inverness Club board, who was in it from the beginning and always had our back. And I can't thank, Lucas County, the city of Toledo, and the state of Ohio enough for their partnerships. And Boyd, I think this community really leveraged those relationships to get some stuff done on the roads around here, and a new interchange. I mean, we should do another event and see what else we can get built around here. So, but the governors, both Kasich and Governor DeWine and Lieutenant Governor Husted, I mean, we're huge partners in this. But I'd still be trying to find my first volunteer if it weren't for Meg. So
Maybe your second, Claire was
my partner in life is, pushing me hard, but she knows that the details of something like this are beyond my skills. And Meg was tireless. I'm sure Dick had to pick her up 1,000 times during this journey, and it doesn't happen without her energy. And it was a great partnership. That's all I can say. So thank you very much.
It was a great partnership. Absolutely. You are both just magnificent. And I think you both brought so much to the table. I have never been prouder of Toledo than at the Solheim Cup. And as somebody who got to just show up and enjoy all of both of your hard work for several days over Labor Day, I really appreciate everything that you all did. And I think we were able to showcase Toledo in an amazing way. So thank you both for everything that you've done. One more round of applause, please, for Meg and Richard. All right, we have 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards to give out tonight. And the first goes to a family whose generosity has made an incredible difference to countless individuals in our area, the LaValle Family Foundation. The LaValle Family Foundation, hold on just a second. It's a private charitable foundation established in 1993 by Richard G. LaValle and his wife, Mary Ann LaValle. Since the foundation's inception, it has provided scholarships and donations, mainly focusing on education and Catholic interests throughout our community. Richard's motivation in life came from a challenging childhood, orphaned at age 10 and raised by his loving but far from well-off extended family. His path forward was made possible by enlisting in the armed services to qualify for the GI Bill. And after serving in the United States Army, Richard married Mary Ann in 1950. He graduated from then the Toledo University Law School, as well as becoming a certified public accountant. He practiced law with the Supreme Court of Ohio and the United States Tax Court, after which in 1971, he established his own practice in Sylvania. Richard and Mary Ann's sights were not only set on advancing their family's educational and religious growth, but the surrounding community as well. They were active with many charitable and educational organizations and devoted their time living, learning, and spreading the Catholic faith. They were instrumental in area scholarships and playing key parts with early distance learning and technical advancement while enriching the quality of life for children and families. Their generosity spread to many area schools, universities, libraries, children's services, and learning institutions that serve our community. Together, Mary Ann, with her kind and generous personality, and Richard, with his intellect and advanced business experience, formed the LaValle Foundation. After successfully raising 7 children and many grandchildren, Richard and Mary Ann wanted their legacy to provide the community a means to help advance educational opportunities and faith-based interests throughout their philanthropic service. While since the passing of Richard and Mary Ann, their 7 children have continued their mission within the LaValle Foundation. The foundation continues to help many community organizations, schools, and faith-based interests financially and through their volunteer time and leadership. Most notably, the LaValle Foundation has been a leader in support for the Northwest Ohio Scholarship Fund and Hope Learning Academy of Toledo. The foundation also has been an important supporter of the Imagination Station, the Toledo Zoo, and several area Catholic schools and universities, just a few of the many worthy community members that the foundation is privileged to support. Accepting the award in honor of their parents, please welcome Lori Thornton and Elaine Lewandowski.
Well, thanks. Thank you very much. That was quite a very comprehensive summary of the LaValle Foundation and my mom and dad's vision. On the behalf of the LaValle Foundation and my mom and dad and my brothers and sisters, we accept this award and we are very humbled by it. It was always their intent that the foundation would live on for many generations and its mission to serve, especially in this community. And we feel that as the group of us, my brothers and my sisters, that we really are trying to live through that and by the mission.
I just wanted to reiterate what Lori said. Again, thank you. And that we are so fortunate to have had the role models that we had and the examples set for us. The 7 of us are very active today in the foundation in many different ways. And we try to continue our parents' mission with the same integrity and importance and compassion that they set up. It is wonderful to see years later all the different effects that their gifts have provided to people throughout the whole community and continue to. And we are honored and privileged to be a part of so many organizations and to serve and contribute in so many wonderful ways. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so great to see you both. And what an incredible legacy. It has to just make you feel so proud and so wonderful to know the hundreds and thousands of people who have been impacted by your parents and your family's foundation. So congratulations and thanks for joining us here tonight to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We are honored Oh, we have the Zoom demo. Look at that, BJ. It's
Somebody accidentally shared this.
it's very fancy.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever is messing up our Zoom, stop it. We have important things to show you. We have another wonderful and incredible person to introduce you tonight with the who is earning the Lifetime Achievement Award this evening. Billy Johnson is the president and CEO of the Area Office on Aging of Northwestern Ohio. I will tell you a little bit about Billy. She has served senior citizens for more than 4 decades through her leadership here in our community. She is an incredible example to the people she comes into contact with. Through her leadership, the Area Office on Aging has evolved from a small divisional office of 4 staff members into an agency of more than 185 employees, 2,000 senior volunteers, more than 180 service providers, and a host of advisors and professional board members. During her tenure, the Area Office on Aging has become a comprehensive regional office on aging that serves more than 190,000 older adults living in 10 counties. The Area Office on Aging is considered as one of the premier area agencies on aging in the U.S. The agency has received 11 National Achievement and Innovation Awards. Billy's responsible for the development of 3 wholly owned subsidiary corporations. These separate corporations provide apartment living for low-income senior citizens living in North Baltimore, Defiance, and Napoleon. She also organized the agency's foundation board and has been instrumental in developing a senior campus of 46 acres that provides a full continuum of care for older adults. Additionally, she is a leader in her community and serves on many local civic boards and foundations, was inducted into the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame by Governor Ted Strickland in 2008. And almost as exciting is she's receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award right here from the Toledo Press Club. Please join me in giving a warm congratulations to Billy Johnson.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thanks to the Press Club. I am so honored to be among so many wonderful people, and certainly to be around so many wonderful media people. You have all treated me very well over these 40 years, and I thank you for it. I have been working in this field of aging really close to 45 years. And I think I was inspired to do this work because of my grandmother and all of the needs that she and her friends had at the time. So I'm so honored. I stand on the shoulders of so many wonderful people: Eleanor Kale, Margaret Hunt, just to name a few, women who inspired me, Charlotte Schaefer, and certainly the men as well, Martin Janis and others. You don't do this kind of work and you don't work this long without a lot of partners. I'm so honored to have so many board members on this program this evening. Thank you, board members. Thank you, staff. You have to have a fantastic staff, many of whom I have groomed to fall in my footsteps as I move to other responsibilities. But I want to thank each and every one of you. I love this community. I want to say that my husband, who is also on here, and my brother this evening, thank you for inspiring me to be the kind of person that I am. With all of that, I am so pleased and so honored. It's such a pleasure to be with all of you this evening. Thank you.
You have some beautiful comments, Billy, in the comment section in the chat box there. So make sure that you notice them because people are giving you kudos. And I mean, when anyone in this area thinks about the Area Office on Aging or services provided to seniors, that is synonymous with you. It's your face that they see when they think about that. And what an incredible legacy how impactful you've been in our community, and we are so pleased that we are able to give you this Lifetime Achievement Award tonight. Thank you so much. One more round of applause for Billy, everybody. Hands up. Yeah. We need to get some sound effects going, BJ. Okay, our next award recipient has many of the same attributes as dear Ms. Johnson, and maybe that's because she is her daughter. Rhonda Sewell is the first of two people receiving the Golden Touchstone Award, which is given for a lifetime of excellence in journalism. Rhonda currently works as the first ever Director of Belonging and Community Engagement at the Toledo Museum of Art. A tireless servant leader and community advocate, Rhonda started her new museum role in April of this year. Previously, you may know that she served as Toledo Lucas County Public Library Director of Governmental and External Affairs, where she worked for 15 years. But she is best known for her award-winning 18-year career as a noted journalist for The Blade newspaper. Rhonda represented the paper as a features writer, the Neighbors West correspondent, and as an international reporter traveling in England, Italy, France, Belgium, Switzerland, China, and the Netherlands. A decade of Rhonda's work was spent as the paper's fashion writer, and she also worked as the American fashion correspondent for Clio magazine, a former women's publication based in Cairo, Egypt. Rhonda is under contract with the University of Toledo Press to complete a book profiling transformative women from Northwest Ohio. She is a columnist for the Stalwart magazine and has a loyal following on social media, including myself, Rhonda, where she offers posts about a range of topics, including genealogy, Black history, local happenings, and museum discoveries. Her charity and philanthropy work in this community is so extensive, it would take me all night to tell you about it. Rhonda has made a profound and lasting difference in our community with her time, her talent, and her words. Her favorite role, though, mom to her beautiful twin daughters who are both in college. Rhonda, thank you for sharing your writing talents with us, even as you've moved on to other careers in your life. And for our first Golden Touchstone Award tonight, please congratulate Rhonda Sewell. Woo! Look at all the applause going crazy. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Chris Peterson, for your tireless advocacy in this community. I'd like to thank all of the members of the Press Club of Toledo for this amazing honor tonight. I feel that it is the pinnacle of my career and one of the highest awards that I've ever received. There's something about being recognized by your peers that means so, so very much. My career as a journalist was a very rich one. I was hired at the tender age of 21 by the Blade newspaper. But prior to that, I had worked at the Lansing State Journal and the awesome state news at Michigan State University. As Chris said, I've also written for other publications, including Clio magazine based in Cairo, Egypt. And I see some of my mentors on here, Kurt Frank and Ron Royhab, who really put their trust in me when I was a reporter at the Blade, where I led a rich career for 18 years, a very proud career. I'd like to dedicate tonight's honor to a woman who I never met, but she is my cousin and she's also on a US postage stamp. Her name was Ethel Lois Payne. Ethel Lois Payne was a journalist and worked for the Chicago Defender, and she was known as the first lady of the Black press. She covered Black servicemen in the war and all types of stories, and she also was one of the first Black women to cover the White House press corps. And so I really feel that that DNA runs very strong in me as well. She was a tireless advocate. And in addition to my writing, I love advocacy. It is something that really touches my soul. I want to thank everyone in the Zoom room, as I say. I see people from all of my career here in Toledo, so I must be on the other side of the mountain now, because I see people here from the museum. Thank you for being here. From the Blade newspaper, thank you for being here. And also from the Toledo Lucas County Public Library. I've had the pleasure of working for those 3 anchor institutions. It's been a blessing. I want to say congratulations to the other honorees, but especially to my mom, who has been my role model. Congratulations to you, Mom. Thank you for being at my house receiving this award. And I think at least one of my twins is on. So thank you, Savannah, and my uncle, Floyd from Indianapolis, and my papa, Henry from Ann Arbor, and all of my friends. There are too many on here to name, but I thank you. I love you. There's also some people on here who joined from the Arts Commission, where I'm the president-elect. I love you all. I love this city. And I just want to thank the Press Club for this amazing honor, one of the great highlights of my life. Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you to all of the members of the Press Club.
Rhonda, you are truly extraordinary, and we are so happy to be able to honor you with this Golden Touchstone, but also to be able to honor you and Billy together. We thought was so special because you are both such incredible women and have made such an impact on our community. So congratulations to you, and truly, thank you. I learn something from you every time I'm with you, my friend. You are a wealth of information and perspective, and I just love you. So congratulations, and thanks for being here with us tonight.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
Our next Golden Touchstone Award also goes to a man who has been an innovator and impactor in our area for many years. Fletcher Word is the owner and publisher of the Sojourner's Truth, a weekly newspaper that serves the Northwest Ohio area and brings its readers information about the local, state, and national African American community. The Truth has been publishing in Toledo for 20 years and has expanded its readership to 70,000 over that time. In 2008, the newspaper opened the Truth Art Gallery in its offices in the downtown area. The 2,000 square foot gallery features the works of local and African artists. Fletcher is a native of New York City and was reared in the Washington, D.C. area, so we are lucky to have his talents here with us in Toledo. He attended Harvard College, graduating with a degree in government. The father of 2, Fletcher has been a resident of Ohio for more than 35 years. He currently serves on the boards of the Toledo Urban Federal Credit Union and the Center of Hope Family Services. In addition to his duties with the Truth, he's also a frequent contributor on local television shows as a political analyst, and we are proud at the Toledo Press Club to award the Golden Touchstone to Fletcher Word.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, members of the Press Club. And I can't believe that I have to follow Billy Johnson and Rhonda Sewell, whom I have both known. I've known them both for years, and I love them both. Congratulations to the both of you. We are, as you mentioned, Chris, 20 years. We're in our 20th year now. The end of our 20 years. We'll celebrate our 20th in April, and I can't tell you how fortunate I have been to work with such wonderful people over the course of those years. And I'm talking about the staff that we've had, the reporters, the designers. There are some people who have been with us for almost as long as 20 years and are still with us. People like columnists like Ryan Rollison, designers like Jennifer Retholtz, and we have had some amazing reporters over that time, such as Artisha Lawson, columnists such as D.L. Perryman, Leif Tolliver, who have certainly stirred up things on more than a few occasions, and we love them. And we also had a columnist some years ago who taught me a lot, taught many people here at this meeting a lot. Jack Ford was a columnist for us for 3 or 4 years, and as Jack was wont to do, did stir things up quite a bit himself. We've had some wonderful people associated with the paper over the years. Some people who have been with us for all those years, and you know, I just love them all, and I've enjoyed working with them all. So I want to thank everyone. This has been quite a thrill. As Rhonda said, quite a thrill to be recognized by peers, and you know, that's the best part of this. So thank everybody. I appreciate it.
Congratulations, Fletcher. And please do go into the chat box and see all the nice comments that people are writing there. You are truly an innovator and impactor in our area, and doing something that no one else is doing or could do, I believe. So thank you. And thank you for being with us tonight and for accepting this Golden Touchstone Award for your lifetime in journalism. Thank you. We have one more award to give out before we get to our keynote speaker as far as community awards, and that is the Norm Cartwright Award for service to the Press Club of Toledo. This year that goes to Ron Royhap. Ron's journalism career spanned more than 40 years. In addition to being an award-winning reporter and editor, Ron was a champion and ambassador for the Press Club of Toledo, serving several terms on the board and as president in 2002. He joined the Blade as managing editor in 1993 and was appointed executive editor 4 years later. In 2004, vice president was added to his executive editor title. Before joining the Blade, he spent 25 years with Scripps Howard newspapers in various reporting and editing positions, including chief of the Columbus Bureau and assistant managing editor of Scripps Howard's Washington Bureau. He also was the investigative reporter for the Cincinnati Post and former Cleveland Press, managing editor of the El Paso, Texas Herald Post, and assistant managing editor of news at the former Pittsburgh Press. During his tenure at the Blade, the newspaper won a Pulitzer Prize in 2004 for investigative reporting and was a Pulitzer finalist in 2000 and 2006. Over the years, Ron won numerous awards as a reporter and editor, but the most impressive personal award came in 2005 when he received the prestigious Benjamin C. Bradley Editor of the Year Award from the National Press Foundation. The award, named after the late Washington Post editor Ben Bradley, was established in 1984 to recognize significant achievements that enhance the quality of journalism in the United States. Ron and his wife, Roberta, moved to the Marblehead Peninsula after he retired from the Blade in 2009. In retirement, he has served on the Marblehead Village Council, is president of his church council, and is on the board of Bistro 163, a nonprofit pay-it-forward restaurant in Port Clinton that serves thousands of free, nutritious meals each year to the food insecure. He and his wife frequently return to our area, though, for the opera and other venues. Ron, thank you for your service to the Press Club and to the community. We're pleased to present you tonight with the Norm Cartwright Award.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, this is really an honor that I never expected would happen. I retired 12 years ago, and I thought maybe some of you thought I wasn't even around anymore. So this is really an exciting night for me to reflect back on my career and the wonderful people I worked with. At the Blade, I was blessed to have a staff of really professional journalists who made it possible for us to cover this city and beyond. And I think it leaves me with concern about how journalism is going to continue to perform its function of turning over rocks, of reporting wrongs, of campaigning for the little guy. There's a lot we can do, even though times have changed. Newspapers are fading out on the newsstand, but they're still pretty strong online. I think we have a good future, but I want to leave all you journalists with a thought. Years ago, the thought just fell right out of my head. Anyway, I want to leave you with the idea that what you're doing is extremely important. Do your best and keep standing up for the little guy. I want to thank you very much.
Ron, thank you so much. What an incredible storied career you've had, and thank you for your service to the press club and for making sure that we're able to get our message out and to help people understand how to be good consumers of news in this age where things are changing. And I must say, those are the most fabulous suspenders I have ever seen.
Well, I wore them for tonight.
I love them. They're newsprint. I hope you guys can all see them. They're incredible. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for joining us here tonight and for everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
All right, the Press Club of Toledo is proud to help usher in the newest generation of journalists each year by providing scholarships to students who are studying the craft. We actually give 2 scholarships each year, one to a student from the University of Toledo and one to a student from Bowling Green State University. The Touchstones are our major fundraiser for these scholarships. This year's scholarship recipient from the University of Toledo is Caleb Gill. I know both of our recipients are here joining us tonight. Caleb is a senior within the media communications major and in his 2nd semester with UT 10 News, where he anchors and produces the sports section for every broadcast. He's also involved with the live sports productions on UT's campus and the school's radio station, WXUT. Caleb hopes to pursue a career in sports radio with a special interest in football. Caleb, congratulations. We're proud to be able to award you our University of Toledo Press Club Scholarship this year. This year's scholarship recipient from Bowling Green State University is Ryan Dick. Ryan grew up in Grand Rapids, Ohio, and used his interest in broadcasting to launch Otsego TV at Otsego High School. It's a sports streaming service there that is still in use today. Now he's a junior, majoring in broadcast journalism at BGSU, and is the news content director for Falcon Media and the producer of BG24 weekly newscasts. He has helped restructure Falcon Media as it undergoes changes. And this year, BG24 introduced new graphics and segments to the show, including sports. And just last week, they added a weather segment as well. So they are growing and changing there. BG24 continues to show significant improvement and growth. Ryan hopes to continue at BGSU and as a producer for a local news station after college. So any of our news directors that are out there watching, keep this guy on your radar here. Congratulations, Ryan, for being our BGSU scholarship winner tonight. Our journalism awards are right around the corner, but first, I want to hear from a very special lady, our keynote speaker, Dr. Nicole Kraft. She spent 25 years as an award-winning reporter, editor, and magazine journalist while working also in public relations for professional sports and government communications. She joined the Ohio State School of Communication in 2010. Her area of expertise includes news, sports, and feature writing, social media, sports communication, media law and ethics, and academic use of mobile technology. Her focus in teaching and research has been in utilizing technology in journalism and global education, as well as the intersection of sports and society. Her dissertation developed a grounded theory regarding academic use of mobile technology among student athletes. Dr. Kraft is director of Ohio State's Sports and Society Initiative and as part of the Global One Health Initiative, teaches annually in Ethiopia. In 2015, she was named an Apple Distinguished Educator and consults with and trains athletic departments around the country in how to better engage student athletes into academics using mobile technology. She is also an active journalist covering sports for the Associated Press and Columbus Dispatch. Her book, Always Get the Name of the Dog, A Guide to Media Interviewing, was released by Routledge in 2019. And in 2020, she authored the digital textbook, Writing Fabulous Features. Dr. Kraft, we're so happy to have you here with us tonight to share your wisdom. Things are really changing in our industry.
Yes, they are. Thank you so much. It is an absolute honor to be here. I certainly wish that I was in Toledo, and some of the places where you guys are look amazing. So you're going to have to invite me again. I am privileged that you invited me to be here on such a special night, and hearing the stories of everyone who's been honored. I can't tell you, it just fills me with a great deal of emotion to think about how much investment has been made in media, how much investment has been made in journalism and in the community of Toledo. And you are so lucky to have people who have such great accomplishments. So I feel honored to be on the same platform as them right now. You know, I started preparing for this, it's obviously actually a year ago, because BJ invited me a year ago, but recently I was reading about journalism, and I was on Poynter's site and I saw another story, as maybe you did, about the demise of journalism. So I've seen quite a few of those. I'm sure you have too. And it started, of course, talking about the cuts in print and the number of days that were being cut and people being furloughed and layoffs. And then the coronavirus came, and that certainly didn't help anything. I'm sure that you've experienced, as we have, the idea of merging of publications. The Columbus Dispatch, of course, was purchased by Gatehouse, which was then purchased Gannett. And now we have a newspaper that has as much news from Marion and Dayton as it does from Columbus. And not only that, but the print product is so much of an afterthought here in Columbus that our news is not 24 hours old anymore. Now it's 48 hours old. And so there's a great deal of emphasis, obviously, on digital, as we've all talked about. And the article that I read on Poynter said that since 2004, 1,800 newspapers have closed in the United States, and more than 11,000 newsroom jobs were lost just in the first 6 months of 2020. With one of the quotes in that story that resonated the most with me was, when you lose a small daily or weekly, you lose the journalists who are going to show up at your school board meeting, your planning board meeting, your county commissioner meeting. And the reason I think that resonated with me so much is that I read it while I was sitting at a commission meeting yesterday with my students. So I had 10 students who I took to the University Area Commission here. It's the governing body for the area around the university. And I watched their eyes go wide as they heard government in action. They saw these projects that were going to affect their lives, development of spaces that were on their campus or in the campus area that were going to directly affect them. One of the commissioners called a certain area of our campus blighted, which caused them to be pretty emotional in their response. And one of the things the commissioner said repeatedly was, I see there's no one from the public to comment on this. And my students said, there's no one on the public to comment on this. And I said, I know, that's why you're here. And that moment of clarity for them, when they realized that that's what journalism is, that it's the eyes and the ears for the community of the government's business being done in public and in private, that it's what happens when, police are, we're in the process right now. I'm going to speak tomorrow at the Bar Association on our students who were pepper sprayed covering protests. So seeing what happens when the media is present and how it changes the perception of the government's business being done, of the public being engaged in meaningful dialogue with the circumstances around their community, that's when they started to realize what it meant to be journalists. And so it makes me think on a daily basis, what does it mean to be a journalist today? And I think one thing that you would find, and certainly the students that are with us have different perceptions of this, but students become journalists for different reasons than they did when we became journalists. I don't know about you guys, but I'm 53. I made my first newspaper when I was 8. It was called the Bicentennial Times. It was 1976. I dressed up as Betsy Ross and I trotted around my neighborhood. I only made one copy though, so I would give it to people to read and then they would have to give it back to me so I could take it to the neighbor's house. But I watched All the President's Men when I was in high school, and that changed my life. I had no doubt that that was going to be the path that I would go on to, because in truth, I'm a gossip. Like, that's what journalism is to me, is I want to know everything and I want other people to know it too. So from the age that I could drive, I would stop at car accidents, or I would stop at a protest, or I would see anything, and I would want people to know what was going on. I became the editor of my school newspaper. I went to college in order to study journalism. I ended up going on to a career that diverted from journalism, but always came back to it. And now that I teach other students who claim to want to be journalists. And I ask them constantly, what do you want from journalism? It's really interesting about their perspective, because what they want is for their opinions to be heard. And that's a different tactic than many of us took when we moved into journalism. But at the same time, they also want to give voice to the voiceless. And I know that it was said here about advocacy. And that's a big part of what our current journalism students want to be involved in. They don't want to be impartial, objective viewers of history as it goes by them. They want to be engaged in it in a meaningful way. They want to be able to speed read and rapidly post, and they need to understand the need for accuracy and the importance of making sure that the information that they transmit is not just quick, but that it's quality. It's interesting, when I ask them where they get their news, they tell me Twitter. And I say, but you know, Twitter doesn't produce news. It's a distributing model. And I'm like, where did you actually get the news? And they have to think about it long and hard. So this idea of who is a content creator. When we think about journalism now, when we look at it from an academic standpoint, the first job of any journalist will be what they do in their collegiate program. If they're lucky enough to be involved in a program like ours, or the ones at Toledo or Bowling Green or any of the other terrific journalism programs. And they have to be able to hit the ground running. They have to be able to do skills that the rest of us only dreamed about. I remember when I got my first job, I needed to be able to write, obviously, and I needed to be able to take pictures, right? Did anyone have that experience where, like, I took pictures and I was immediately hireable? Now they would laugh at me if I told them that's what I could do. I have to be able to write and take pictures and be a videographer and be an incredible interviewer. And I have to be a researcher, and I have to be a copy editor, and I have to be a publisher, and I have to be able to disseminate my materials, and I have to be able to promote myself, and I have to be a brand ambassador. And all of these factors go into this dynamic that we identify as journalism, but is taking on so many different characteristics that sometimes we don't recognize it. And that's why I have to ask you guys again, what does it mean to be a journalist today? When we send reporters out, I don't know about you guys, I used to go out with a camera bag and a notebook that would stick in my back pocket. And now we send journalists out with gas masks. We send journalism students out with goggles and our phone numbers written on their arms in the event that they get involved in a protest or other types of activities that might get them in trouble, might get them arrested, might get them in the hospital, to be honest with you. We look at covering President Trump's tenure, which I had the great fortune to do that. And I've never been so scared in all my life as I was standing in a pen while people screamed at me and called me the enemy of the people. And this idea of the suspicion of media, you know, in the past, when I came up in journalism, and I think many of you probably did too, there was a heroic element to journalism. We were seen as doers of good. And now there's such a great distrust of the media, and this idea that information that's disseminated by the media is not truthful or is done to manipulate the audience. And it's become such a significant issue that I think all of us have seen explode as it relates to the pandemic that we're experiencing. This idea of alternative facts, the idea that we would even think that such a phrase would exist, hyperpartisanship, polarization, dismantling of political traditions and the norms that we expect, all of these things are impacting journalism and journalists and how we have to prepare our journalists. This assault on facts in general, whether it be the coronavirus or science in general, the mistrust of government, the press has to figure out a way to convey faith, not just in the subjects that it covers, but in the subjects itself. And in itself, in the personality of journalism, in the culture of journalism, in the structure of journalism. And if we can't convey the trust that we feel about, how are we going to expect people who are consuming our materials to be able to do that? So it's going to take time for norms to return. And, you know, that's a question of whether they do at all. And what our norms are going to change consistently and currently. And that's really the only thing that we can count on, is that change is coming for us. David Folkenflik from NPR said that the press has to figure out a way to convey faith in itself and in other similar, somewhat analogous institutions without papering over flaws and shortcomings. So I keep asking, you know, what does it mean to be a journalist today? It means that accountability of local reporting is going to remain essential. And the coverage of different aspects of our communities have to be the cornerstone of what we do. No one will be able to cover local like local. And the need for people to be informed about what's going on down the block, around the corner, in their communities has never been more important. And the policies that we establish in terms of ensuring that people are entrenched in their communities, that there's an acceptance of the need for news to convey information that is inherently important to the democracy in the smallest of communities to the largest of cities, is what's going to be key to our success. We have to fight misinformation, and at the same time, we have to look for economic stability, and those needs are going to intensify on both sides of that. Social media platforms have made some attempt to engage people and to bring journalism to the masses. I think you guys might agree that there's questionable success there, and certainly with what we're seeing with Facebook, we have some real issues about how we're going to utilize social media moving forward. We have to look at how we can squelch disinformation when everyone is a publisher, and even our own journalism students can't identify the difference between what is published under the auspices of the SPJ Code of Ethics and the standards that journalism conveys, and what's simply posted from someone sitting in a street corner just popping something off with their thumbs on Twitter. So, as Walter Shapiro said in The New Republic, for the press to be a trusted institution, it has to become an economically secure institution. And a lot of this we did to ourselves. We gave away, when the internet came, we said, what an amazing experience this will be. We can now make everyone a reader of our publication, and we can give things away, and we did. And what happens when you give things away is they lose value. And now we're trying to get that back, and we're working, how to massage paywalls and how to make people feel that the materials that they're getting are worthy of being consumed and being purchased, because there's not a culture that says that news is worth buying. We know that as of 2018, for the first time, that social media overtook print newspapers as the source of news, and people don't pay for social media. They pay for it in their data, and they're not really sure that they're doing that. And our ability to manage that expectation of what is acceptable, what is free, what is worthy of being paid for is going to be a really significant issue for us moving forward. This economic downturn that we've been looking at, we have to get over the fact that classified advertising has gone out the window, that print advertising costs so much more and provides so much more revenue than online advertising. There has to be a way to balance that. We're looking at the New York Times. They're certainly seeing a significant amount of increases in their digital product. Not all of us are the New York Times. I think we can agree to that. But the model that they're setting in terms of the expectations for what will be valued online is going to be a significant framing for the rest of us to move forward. So again, I have to ask you guys, what does it mean to be a journalist today? What it means is that we have to adapt. We have to adapt to a misinformation era. We have to adapt to new levels of transparency that we never thought of before. We have to make our process so clear to the people who are consuming it that they have no question of what we're producing and the facts that we're providing. We have to look at changing newsrooms and the idea that we're remote. I mean, this is not the ideal situation for a social structure, but maybe it is the ideal situation for a newsroom structure. And how do we manage the expectations of, reporters who need to be out in the field, but also need to be networking with their colleagues, that also need to be learning and developing, that kind of walk by somebody's desk and talk through a story with them isn't happening as much. How can we duplicate that model or replicate it in a different way? We need to refocus journalism on facts and explanation and specialization so that people can understand where expertise comes in, and the idea of, taking the mystique out of journalism and bringing it to a level that people can feel confident in the facts and confident in the explanation is going to be significant to our success to connecting with new audiences. We're going to have to accelerate the shift to paid content and making that more palatable to the people who are going to be responsible for paying for it if we expect to be able to maintain the standards of journalism as we set them. And that's going to mean revenue diversification. So looking at different ways of live events or other versions of e-commerce that we can do, other programming elements that will bring in funding and that will support advertising, that will support sponsorships. The idea of the NPR model and getting people to become members of your news organization is going to be a broader reach in order to try to establish the solid foundation of funding that we need. And we're going to be accelerating this kind of shift into entrepreneurial journalism. I work a lot in sports, and what we're seeing in terms of the most innovative and the rise of sports journalism is entrepreneurship of things like Awful Announcing, which was started by Ben Koo, an Ohio State alum, Extra Point, Matt Brown, also an Ohio State alum. These are revenue models that have been sustained that are providing a really solid foundation for the forward process of news coverage as it comes to sports. we have this kind of this element that a lot of us are still clinging to that which we knew, and we're trying to incorporate digital models into it. But if we still keep clinging to the moorings of what we knew before, and to a great degree that's going to be print, we're going to be struggling in order to catch up to the population that's moving ahead. Students don't read print. The young millennials don't read print. The whole generation of people who consume, short videos, who are looking at audio. That's why we're constantly striving to get into the podcast momentum, into video momentum. We have everybody's going to TikTok now. What we have to look at is taking what we know best, which is the creation and distribution of news content, and be able to disseminate it in ways that are meaningful for the people who wish to consume it. We also need to look at accountability journalism so that we are getting tougher as politicians look to take advantage of these different concerns about misinformation. We're going to face the tightening and restrictions on freedom of speech. We're going to face issues related to freedom of the press. I am not going to be surprised if libel laws start to shift in a direction that we don't want them. We have 2 members of the Supreme Court right now who support the loosening of libel laws as it relates to the New York Times versus Sullivan case. That's going to be a really challenging and chilling aspect if suddenly public officials don't have to look at the actual malice standard. We have to figure out how we can work within the standards that people are setting for us, recognizing that those are going to contract journalism from the sides, but it's not necessarily going to compromise the heart of it. Audio continues to be this really bright spot for media with strong innovation, and there's business models. And I think we're going to see a greater influence as it comes to paid programming in that way, of podcasts and platform payments that will allow people to kind of widen their range of monetization options. The traditional notions of journalism, impartiality, and objectivity are going to come under pressure in ways that we have never really managed before, especially as we look at greater polarization and this kind of political and social upheaval that we're in the midst of. And we know that more partial news outlets are going to be launching this year. Their success and failure are going to ebb and flow, and the standards of mainstream news is still going to be something that people go to. But what we're seeing, and I think it's the most interesting piece of it, is I'm formerly worked in horse racing. And everyone knows when the Kentucky Derby is. How many of you have watched the Kentucky Derby or know at least when it is? Okay. And that's what news has become. We're the Kentucky Derby of natural disasters. We're the Kentucky Derby of any national huge issue. When the election was in flux, and it was never in flux, we all know that, but when it appeared to be in flux, people ran to mainstream news sources in order to find out what was happening. When there's a hurricane or a flood or an earthquake or some huge issue that people need to know news, they're going to go to news. And what we have to figure out is how to make sure that that truth spreads out, and the desire for truth spreads out, so that people don't just come to us on the first Saturday in May, as it would be. So what does it mean to be a journalist today? It means what it's always meant. It means that we're the fourth estate. It means that our job is to check and balance the other arms of government and to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And when they're not, that we expose that we make sure that police brutality is exposed, that we make sure that government impropriety is exposed, that we make sure that people are aware of their surroundings and the people who are doing their business in their name, so that they can make informed decisions. It means that we take the public by the hand to make it be informed whether it wants to or not. It means we have to be entertaining. It means we have to be fun. We have to be conversational. We have to moderate controversies. We have to seek and report the best obtainable version of the truth, as Bob Woodward has long said, and affirm what is true over and over and over again. The future is not going to look like the past, and it's not going to look like the present. And in truth, many of the journalistic jobs that we may be preparing students for today, they don't even exist yet. We won't know what they're going to be until they're already out in the field and they come back to tell us. And so we have to be open to change. We have to have this change, though, that's founded in the core competencies by which journalism has always separated itself from the masses: the seeking of truth, the minimizing of harm, the interpretation of facts to make them consumable. And we must continue to believe in what we do. We have to believe that there is truth that can be chronicled and shared for the betterment of everyone. We have to believe in storytelling. We have to believe in people and their need to know. We have to believe in news in all its forms and all its incarnations. We have to believe in journalism's role supporting democracy. And we have to believe in each other and the industry to which we have devoted our lives. And that belief is what it means to be a journalist today. And I thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you. This is such a privilege. And I am so honored at the work that you're doing and that I can call myself a member of the same profession that you do.
Dr. Kraft, you look at all the people applauding. This is so fascinating, like listening to you. And I so wish we had you here in person. And I hope that you will join us again. Maybe we, as a panel discussion or something, because you raised so many amazing points. And I feel like we need to like flesh them out a little bit so that we can all understand this a little bit better. But thank you so much for sharing your time with us here this evening. Everybody, Dr. Nicole Kraft.
Woo! It's a pleasure. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us. Wow, my head is totally spinning, BJ. BJ and I are like, what? We kept going, no. Okay, we're gonna have to bring Dr. Kraft back and have a little discussion with her at another time when we can spend the entire time talking with her about all of these issues. The Press Club in Toledo is an organization rich in nearly 50 years of tradition and more active than ever in promoting journalism excellence. And I really feel like we are truly lucky to live in this community where we can expect local media to meet the very highest standards of journalism. Tonight, we're recognizing that excellence from all of you. Our Touchstone Awards this year were judged by members of the Dallas Press Club and Hawaii Society of Professional Journalists this year. I tried to get them to send me there in person so that I could make sure the judging was going off fairly, but they wouldn't go for it. We want to thank them for their time, though, because it is not an easy job to judge these entries, and they did a great job. So here we go with our Journalism Awards. The very first one, Print Daily Hard News. The winning entry here this year, Sarah Elms, Brooks Sutherland, and Danielle Gamble. Past Due is the article. Writers, photographers, and data researchers worked together on this piece and determined that the majority of residents at Lucas Metropolitan Housing were receiving eviction notices for outstanding rent of $100 or less. These articles infuriated me when I read them, and that's exactly what journalism is supposed to do, right? The judges said it was a sobering look at a system that clearly needs repair, and this was a great dig by these folks. Congratulations to Sarah, Brooks, and Danielle on very impactful journalism at the Blade. Print Daily Hard News. Our next category is Print Daily Feature. And our winner in this category this year is Mary Billiou, Meet the Matriots. Most women won the right to vote in 1920. 100 years later, though, they're still underrepresented in politics. They only hold 29% of the offices in Ohio, despite making up 51% of the state's population. So the Matriots, an Ohio-based PAC, was formed with the goal of increasing women's representation in government to 50% by 2028. We meet the leaders and local members as well as area candidates who have earned the group's endorsement, and we look at some of the factors that are prohibitive to women considering running for office. The judges said, thank you for pointing out some very eye-opening stats. This piece was well-paced and keeps a reader's attention. Congratulations to Mary. Our next category is photojournalism videography. And this year's award goes to JD Pooley. Pooley captures an emotional scene between a grieving mother and people who want to ease her pain this holiday season. The judges said this was great documenting of the real reasons for the holidays and the people who can be truly effective. Take a look. Working on the audio, folks. All of these entries will be posted on our Press Club website and our Press Club social media pages. So make sure you go in and take a look at all of these entries, read them, watch them, enjoy them, and be glad that we live here in Northwest Ohio where such fantastic work is being done. Our next category is photojournalism print, and the winner in this category this year is Jeremy Wadsworth. The photo is of Jamie Dia comforting her young son Eunice, 8, while visiting a memorial for her husband, Toledo police officer Anthony Dia, who was killed in the line of duty early Saturday morning. The memorial set up in the Home Depot parking lot on Alexis Road, where he was killed on Saturday, July 4th, 2020 in Toledo, Ohio. The judges say what appears to be a real tragedy in your community is summed up in a very human manner with one photograph. Congratulations, Jeremy, on excellent work. Our next category is television hard news. And the winner this year is 13 ABC. The entry is Toledo City Council members' indictment and arrest of one of the city's largest corruption cases in history. The judges said this was a clean, concise way to give all angles of a complicated story that unfolded in one day. Good job of getting viewers up to speed. Take a look.
This is a breaking news alert.
Allegations, what they reveal is greed. It's pure and simple. They also reveal a deep violation of the public's trust.
And as we come on the air right now at 5, 4 Toledo City Council members are the focus of a federal bribery probe. FBI taking Yvonne Harper, Tyrone Riley, Gary Johnson, and Larry Sykes into custody this morning. Accusations that they accepted bribes in exchange for their votes. Our team has been combing through the documents, talking with legal experts and investigators, and getting reaction from Toledoans about today's stunning developments. Our Sean Haggerty has been diving into the details of this case. He actually talked with all 4 council members this afternoon, and Sean begins our live team.
All right, again, the full report will be available. The link will be available on our website and our social media in the next day or so. So make sure that you take a look at that. And congratulations to our friends at 13 ABC. Our next category is television feature. And this year's winner in that category is Eric Alblander. In this episode of 419 by Design, host Eric Alblander goes behind the scenes at the Jeep plant to learn how a Jeep Wrangler is built from raw materials to a finished product. The judges said, what an amazing insight into something we usually take for granted. Thanks for taking us along. Take a look.
On this special episode of 419 by Design, we're showing you what goes into building the iconic Jeep Wrangler. On today's episode of 419 by Design, we're going big, as in iconic big. We're showing you how Jeep built the iconic Jeep Wrangler right here at the Toledo Assembly Complex. We got a lot of ground to cover, so let's roll. Built in 2001, this 3.64 million square foot facility sits on over 300 acres of land.
Congratulations to Eric and the team at BCAN on this television feature award from the Press Club. Next category is radio show or series. And this entry winner is Deepa Bhujbal. This entry is one of the weekly UT10 radio updates from different community news items. The judges said this budding star gives you an easy to understand wrap of the week's headlines, cutting through to get into the important issues. Congratulations to Deepa Bhujbal. We're having a little trouble with this audio, so you're going to have to click on the link on the social media when we're able to put it on there. Congratulations, Deepa. Next category is podcast. Caitlin Durbin and Philip Kaplan are our winners for Code 18 Unsolved. The inaugural podcast series looked at how police consider the disappearance of Alvin Darrow a homicide, even without his body. Multiple family members and others were interviewed. The judges said this was good use of this evolving media to make sure cold cases still get attention and maybe some families justice as well. I listened to this and I kept messaging Caitlin and telling her I wanted to go find this field and try to find this killer. It was so compelling. It was really great. We have a little clip, BJ?
I know it just goes to this.
Okay, so we're not going to be able to play you a clip here, but I'm just going to tell you subscribe to Code 18 Unsolved. Listen to the whole thing. It's incredible. And you won't be sorry that you did. Those unsolved crimes are so incredible. They did an amazing job of unfolding the story. Congratulations to Philip and Caitlin. Next category is social media. And the winner this year for social media category is BCAN Pulse. After missing prom last year due to the pandemic, Springfield High School staff, parents, and community came together to throw a prom for the Springfield juniors and seniors. The event included several surprises, and Springfield teachers say after the devastating year like 2020, they wanted to help the upperclassmen create moments that will always be remembered for the right reasons. The judges liked this use of local relevant content that was surely shared many times over on the social media platforms.
With Squarespace, editing and adding pieces on my
Hey everyone, I'm Faith Atkins, and thanks for joining me for this week's Here and Now. Last week, we got a sneak peek at how Springfield High School was getting ready for prom.
Nothing's really being said to us, so it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of exciting because we don't really know what to expect.
The theme of the night is Night Under the Big Top, and this year has been quite the circus, and we plan on bringing that to the Blue Devil Stadium, and it will definitely end with a bang.
But this week, we were there to check it out.
Every kid has come up to me and said, this is...
Congratulations to BCAN Pulse for winning our social media category this year. We are now to our student categories. We have 2, television and print, and our first is student television. And this year's recipient of the Toledo Press Club Touchstone Award is Spring 2021 UT10 Crew. The entry is one of their live weekly student newscasts. UT10, you may not know, is 100% produced by students in the Department of Communication at the University of Toledo. The judges said it's a good way to hit heavy COVID topics, timely local issues like the fire, and also have some fun with the wrestling segment. Great work.
Road construction. I'm Lexi Alvarez. Will this affect you on your way to work?
Fall classes are going to be in person. I'm Cassie Pruitt, and find out if you'll need the vaccine in order to attend.
Oh my God, here we go again.
I'm Becca Lustig with why infectious disease experts are worried about another surge in COVID cases.
Your news in 10 minutes starts now. Doctors are issuing a dire warning as COVID cases in our area are spiking again, and Michigan in particular experiences a serious surge.
Case numbers are rising as we speak. UT10's Becca Lustig joins us now live. Becca, what caused this sudden spike?
And also, how exciting. Look, our scholarship winner is right there in that UT10 TV show. Congratulations, Caleb and the rest of the UT10 crew from Spring, who are the winners of our Press Club Award for Student Television. Our award for Student Print tonight, the winner, Riley Runnels from the Post at Ohio University. And this article is Students Reflect on Their Catfishing Experiences During COVID-19. From romantic scams to money scams, people saw an increase of catfishing during the coronavirus pandemic. Judges said this is a noteworthy job on a pandemic topic of current cultural concerns. Congratulations, Riley. who happens to be my daughter. So I'm super proud of her for racking up the Touchstone hardware here tonight at the Press Club Awards. Let's give one more big shout out. Put everybody up on the screen here. BJ, can you do that? We'll get the gallery up. Congratulations to all of our winners. Let's give some great applause, everybody. Congratulations to our community winners, our journalism winners, our scholarship recipients, and our student winners here tonight. And we really want to thank you all for being here with us and for continuing the great tradition of our Toledo Press Club Touchstone Awards. We are crossing fingers to be together again next year in person. And again, maybe our community award winners would like to just come join us and see what it's all about. We do want to put one more plug in to please consider joining the Toledo Press Club. We are not just journalists. These are communication professionals, but also news makers. So it's news makers and news breakers, and we're all in this together. So we're going to find some ways to figure out this whole, all the things that Dr. Kraft was talking about. Thanks to her for being our amazing keynote speaker here tonight, to all our board members and everybody who helped make tonight a great success. BJ, the mysterious man behind the curtain, thank you so much. A very pretty good job here tonight. By the amateurs. All right, everybody. Great to see you. Have a good night, and we'll see you again next year. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Senna. Yeah,